I broke up with my boyfriend of 3 years. Everyone thought I would be the one to apologize first again this time. To their surprise, I posted a picture of my newly obtained marriage certificate on my social media. He blocked my door, tears streaming down his face, begging me for another chance. Chapter 1. Tiffany White, haven't you had enough? My boyfriend no, my ex-boyfriend now. Kevin sat on the couch, looking annoyed. The sight of his irritated face actually made me want to laugh. He had been caught red-handed, dancing with his childhood friend Zoe, at a bar, and yet he still had the nerve to accuse me of being unreasonable. Fine, if he thought I was being unreasonable, I'd show him what that really looked like. A man who deceived everyone around him disgusted me. I was just hanging out with Zoe like I always do, and now you've embarrassed me in front of my friends. What more do you want? Say whatever you want. His phone flashed, interrupting his rant. I quietly followed him to the bathroom and overheard Zoe's sweet voice. Kevin, she didn't make things hard for you, did she? Of course not. Kevin's tone was so gentle, one he'd never used with me. Hearing them laugh from the bathroom, I started packing my things. What a shameless pair. Who needs him anyway? I sent Kevin a breakup text and blocked him. The conversation in the bathroom paused for a second, then picked right back up. Hey he always acted so high and mighty with me. I couldn't really blame him though. I'd been crazy about him since freshman year, willing to do anything for him. The favors, the gifts, too many to even count. And now, as I was the one breaking up with him, he couldn't care less. Did he really think someone like me so humble would still cling to him? Their conversation continued in the bathroom while I dragged my suitcase out of that suffocating place. As soon as I got into my car, my group chat blew up. Kevin's friends were tagging me. Tiffany, running away from home again? How many times is this now? Have some self-respect, would you? Don't come crawling back to Kevin, or we'll have to watch the same old drama. Just kidding, would she really leave Kevin? The sarcasm was palpable. I didn't bother reading anymore, quickly typing a message. As you all wish, it's really over this time. Then I left the group chat they'd made for me. They had other ways to reach me. I knew why they made that group, but I joined anyway. Just to catch a glimpse of Kevin's updates. Eventually, they added Zoe, and Kevin's posts started coming more often. I was jealous, desperate even, hoping to find some hint that he still cared. But there was nothing. Instead, they just grew closer, without any regard for my feelings. As my best friend Vanessa put it, I'd become hopelessly obsessed. Looking back, it all seems so ridiculous. Kevin never truly cared about me, and he was never kind or gentle. He only reached out when he needed something, and when he didn't, he wouldn't even spare me a second glance. What was I holding on to? His ability to eat, drink, and cause trouble? Chapter 2. I have an old house outside the city, left to me by my parents, which I haven't lived in for years. Now it has become the only place I can hide. After 3 hours of cleaning, the house finally looked new again, and I was so exhausted that I almost collapsed on the floor. After showering, I saw a missed call and couldn't help but feel nervous. Was it Kevin? When I opened my phone, it was a call from my good friend Vanessa. I couldn't help but smile bitterly and shake my head. As if he would call. He was probably with that fake woman right now. Just as I was about to return the call, Vanessa called again. You fought with Kevin again, didn't you? What's the point? In the end, you'll just beg to get back together. Her words hurt, and standing by the window, the cold wind made me shiver. This time it's really over. I won't go back. After a moment of silence, she said, What if he kneels down and begs for your forgiveness? I scoffed. I'm not that pathetic. After 5 years, I've finally woken up. I don't believe you. Vanessa changed the subject. Unless you go to the high school reunion tomorrow. What does that have to do with my decision? She laughed. I knew it, you don't really want to break up. I sighed. Fine, I'll dress up and go tomorrow. Happy? Vanessa finally smiled. Expect a surprise. What surprise? Too tired to guess, I said. If you don't tell me soon, I'm going to sleep. Vanessa quickly replied. Justin will be at the reunion. That name lit up my mind immediately, and I gripped my phone tightly. Justin was our nickname for him. His real name was Justin Carter. He was the perfect guy in high school, great grades, handsome, a basketball star, and kind-hearted. Vanessa teased. The main purpose of the reunion is to welcome him back, and he's still single. Isn't this a chance? Looking at my tired reflection in the mirror, I smiled. It's all in the past. After hanging up, I quietly applied a face mask. Chapter 3. The first rays of morning sunlight woke me up. I had forgotten to pull the curtains last night. It was already past 10. I stretched my sore arms and realized that I hadn't slept this soundly in a long time. Kevin used to party until the early hours, and I'd have to pick him up, half drunk, and take care of him. Then, I'd drag myself to work the next day, missing out on a few promotion opportunities in the process. From now on, everything starts over. I whispered to myself, a small smile forming on my lips. I made myself a bowl of egg noodles in the small but cozy kitchen. The aroma was inviting, and maybe a glass of milk would help improve my skin. Life without Kevin wasn't as bad as I had imagined. Chapter 4. To keep my mind occupied, I decided to go to the nearby supermarket to stock up my fridge. From now on, I'd bring my own lunch to work and wouldn't envy my colleagues anymore. Passing a cosmetics store, a saleswoman stopped me. Miss, we're having a promotion today. Spend $200 and get a free face mask. I couldn't help but stare at the lipstick she was wearing. I used to love dressing up, but ever since Kevin said he liked me more natural, I had stopped using bright lipstick. This color would suit you perfectly. Your skin is so fair, you look beautiful. The saleswoman said enthusiastically. I couldn't help but smile at her compliment. Seeing that I had bought quite a few things, she offered to do my makeup. Why not? If I already looked good, I might as well go all the way. I didn't rush to the supermarket. Instead, I wandered through the mall. I picked out a white Chanel-style jacket, a silk dress, and a pair of boots. Then, I went to the hair salon and got a short cut with a brown curl. It looked great. By the end of the day, I had spent 3 months' worth of salary. They say shopping is one of the best ways to get over a breakup. When Zoe saw me at the hotel entrance, she circled me a few times. Oh my God, Tiffany, you look stunning. I thought you'd be a mess. If I'd known you'd look this good after a breakup, I would have told you to dump him sooner. I felt a little smug. Not bad, huh? Zoe happily linked arms with me and led me to the private room. This was one of the city's top 5-star hotels. Kevin and I had been here a few times. The food was expensive and reservations were required. I hesitated, then nervously asked Zoe. If the dinner bill is more than I expect, can you cover for me? I'll pay you back as soon as I get my salary. Zoe laughed. This place belongs to Joy's boyfriend. How do you think she got the reservation? Just then, Kevin walked in with a group of classmates, wearing a light-colored suit, a black knit sweater, and gold-rimmed glasses. He looked like the perfect gentleman from a novel. 5 years had passed, and he was much more mature. His features were more defined. The class president, Joy, smiled and teased me. Tiffany, you look even more beautiful after all these years. Kevin was just asking if you were coming. I was surprised. We were desk mates in high school but didn't talk much. He was always the top student, and I was just an ordinary girl. Kevin smiled and greeted me. Long time no see, Tiffany White. His deep, warm voice made my heart flutter. I smiled back politely. Zoe squeezed my hand excitedly. See? I told you. I knew what she was hinting at, but I thought it was better to stay calm. I didn't understand much about drinking culture, but I knew I should keep my distance from the well-dressed classmates. To my surprise, Kevin sat down just 2 seats away from me. Tiffany White tried to pull him to the center, but he refused. We're all old classmates. No need to make distinctions." His words set the tone for the evening, and everyone took their seats. The reunion was lively. When the class beauty Minnie arrived last, wearing a sequined dress and white fur, she looked like she was walking down a runway. The boys were excited and mostly stood up to greet her. Kevin remained seated. Minnie walked over and sat next to Kevin, suggesting they switch seats. The sports committee member happily gave up his spot. Everyone knew she had a crush on Kevin. As the waiter started serving, Minnie, a little tipsy from her glass of red wine, asked Kevin, "Are you planning to stay and work here?" Kevin smiled. "Yes, I'm taking over the family business. I hope to have everyone's support." Someone joked that they wouldn't be up to the task, and the room burst into laughter. Then, Minnie asked again, "Kevin, I heard you're still single. Do I have a chance?" Her question caused an uproar. Kevin took a sip of his drink. "Sorry, I already have someone in my heart." The room went quiet and people were clearly shocked. Though Minnie didn't achieve her goal, she still smiled brightly. "As long as you're not married, I won't give up." Girls chasing boys is supposed to be easy, and I couldn't help but envy her boldness. It reminded me of when I desperately pursued Kevin. I took a sip of my red wine. It was really good. As the atmosphere grew livelier with more toasts, a few familiar classmates came over to drink with me. I didn't want to refuse their kindness but tried to politely decline. "I really can't drink anymore." My naturally soft voice, mixed with the alcohol, made my refusal sound a bit more like a playful plea. Minnie sneered. "Oh, come on, just drink." Just as things were getting out of hand, Kevin stood up and raised his glass. "Tiffany has had enough. Let me drink for her." His words caused a stir. Many, including myself, were stunned. Several drunk girls had asked for his help with their drinks, but he hadn't done anything. Now, he was stepping in for me. Surprised? You bet. Zoe smiled warmly and pulled me aside. "Let's go to the restroom." Chapter 5. Looking at my flushed face in the mirror, I was about to splash some cold water on my face when Vanessa stopped me. "Tiffany, didn't you remember you have makeup on?" She chided, pulling out a powder puff to touch up my makeup. "You need to make a good impression today. I'll help you." I looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" Vanessa winked. "Justin, of course. You've been crushing on him for years, right? I'm here to help you make it happen." Her words caught me off guard, and I immediately covered her mouth. "Hey thinking you're all that. Just look at yourself." Minnie suddenly walked in, a cigarette hanging from her mouth, eyeing me with disdain and flaunting her figure. Her words made me look down, feeling a little embarrassed. Minnie continued. "Stop dreaming. Not everyone can reach Justin." This ignited a spark of anger in me. I clenched my fists and looked her straight in the eye. "Not only will I like him, but I'll also win him over." "You? Seriously?" She sneered. "Do you think you're more suitable? With your plastic surgery? Your chest looks nice. Where did you get it done? Any discounts if I mention your name?" Furious, Minnie stormed into a stall, leaving me with a newfound determination. As I walked out, I saw Justin leaning against the wall, smiling at us. "Ah!" I almost turned to run, but Vanessa grabbed me. "Tiffany! Calm down." Justin chuckled. "I heard you're planning to pursue me?" It felt like waking up from a dream. I avoided his gaze as he suggested we go eat and warm up, and I followed Vanessa back to the room. Inside, Vanessa was ecstatic, shaking my wrist. "See? Justin's into you. Go for it." I felt embarrassed. She must have had too much to drink to say something like that. After dinner, we headed to a karaoke bar, sticking to the usual routine. But around Justin, I felt so awkward, my face flushing with embarrassment. Thankfully, he wasn't far from me, and his deep, slightly raspy voice was oddly charming. When Minnie, dressed in a glamorous outfit, took to the stage to dance provocatively, causing cheers, I clapped politely, even though I didn't like her much. Vanessa nudged me. "That's your rival." As I tried to pull my hand back, I heard a soft chuckle nearby. Looking up, I saw Justin smiling at me. For a moment, it felt like the whole world was watching me, and I quickly looked away, retreating to a corner. When it was Justin's turn to sing, he chose "Loving you is my secret. Loving you is my secret, hoping you'll stay in my heart." His warm, magnetic voice felt like a gentle breeze rippling across a calm lake. Tiffany White teased. "There must be someone special behind such a heartfelt song, right?" Justin put the microphone down and briefly glanced at me, but didn't elaborate. My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly focused on the apple in the fruit platter. Vanessa noticed. "Hey, you hate apples." It took me a second to realize what I'd done. Seeing Justin's gentle smile, I immediately felt uneasy. Maybe it was the alcohol making me imagine things. Why did his eyes seem to hold a hint of affection? Before anyone could tease further, he answered a call and left, causing many girls to sigh. The boys gradually dispersed to head home. Since I hadn't had much to drink, Vanessa escorted me back home. She looked around and remarked, "This place feels like your home." Her words clearly reminded me that the luxurious house I shared with Kevin never truly felt like it belonged to the two of us. Satisfied with not seeing anything related to Kevin around the apartment, Vanessa gave me a hug before leaving. "Keep going. The future will be bright for us." After showering, I lay down in bed and couldn't help but browse through social media updates. A beautiful day is about to begin. Since changing my habits, I've been waking up on time, making breakfast, and sharing it online. Waking up early also meant catching the bus, and I planned to apply for my driver's license soon, hoping to own a car next year with an installment plan. When I entered the office, Vanessa pretended to be surprised. "Wow, look at you, our little star, up and about so early. No more late arrivals?" I replied with a bit of pride. "From now on, every day will be like this. I'll make sure to get the full bonus every month." She was delighted to hear about my breakup. "Good choice. That guy was never reliable and didn't deserve you." After hearing the truth, Vanessa promised to introduce me to some better guys and make sure they were a step up from my ex. It turned out that everyone had been disapproving of Kevin's behavior, but it took me until now to realize it. As my colleagues rushed into the meeting room, I went to the restroom to fix my hair. My wavy hairstyle looked nice but was tricky to sleep with. Vanessa called me to hurry, saying the director had already arrived. I rushed toward the meeting room, but my new heels slipped slightly on the marble floor. Just as I was about to reach for the door, it suddenly opened from the inside. I couldn't stop myself. Trying to grab something to steady myself, I was instead caught in a firm embrace. Ouch! The man released me, and his back hit the decorative shelf behind him, looking like it hurt a bit. I quickly apologized. "I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" He took a while to respond, making me curious. Looking up, I froze. Not only did I stop, but everyone in the meeting room was also staring at us, their eyes wide. "It's fine. Just be careful," Justin said, his voice laced with a hint of helplessness as he looked down at me. I was completely stunned. The new director was Justin. I quickly checked the company profile and saw that he worked for the Carter Group. I hoped he didn't think I joined just to get close to him. Just as I was wondering whether to explain myself, Vanessa and the others teased me in the break room. "You've got guts, throwing yourself right into the new boss's arms on your first day." I felt my face flush with embarrassment. But in a way, this teasing helped me forget about my ex for the moment. Kevin texted, asking, "Had enough? Dinner tonight?" I would have caved before, but this time, I deleted the message and stayed focused on work. Earning money was more important. I had only $500 left to last the next 2 weeks. I had passed up several training opportunities because of Kevin. Looking back, that was a big mistake. Now that Justin was my boss, I hoped to do well. With a year-end trip to New Mexico offering a hefty bonus, I felt more motivated than ever. I barely had lunch, just a sandwich, which didn't fill me up. After work, I quickly grabbed my handbag and headed straight home for a bowl of hot chicken soup. As I left the office building, I spotted Kevin leaning against a blue sports car, smoking, looking like he couldn't care less. "Tiffany, we agreed on dinner, didn't we? Why the delay?" he called out. His friends, waiting by their luxury cars, looked on with amusement. Zoe, sitting in the passenger seat, taunted, "Aren't you a little too old for tantrums? Don't you think about Kevin's feelings?" I chuckled. In the past, I might have rushed over to argue, trying to make it look like Kevin still cared about me, only to end up being blamed for overreacting. But today, it just seemed ridiculous. "Kevin, we've made it clear. We're done." He laughed dismissively. "Stop kidding around. I came to pick you up. Get in the car." He climbed into the car, and Zoe said, "I like sitting in the front. Tiffany, you take the back seat." Seeing that I wasn't moving, Kevin frowned. "Get in the back car." This had happened 4 or 5 times before. I used to squeeze into another car, enduring their mockery, hoping for some sign that he still cared. But today, the cold wind stung my face, and I crossed my arms, saying coldly, "An ex should be as distant as a dead person. Don't you agree?" Those were the words he had used to describe me before. Saying them back now felt oddly satisfying. Kevin was visibly frustrated. "Are you sure you won't regret this?" The air was thick with car exhaust, but I felt a strange thrill in my chest, like a new chapter had begun. As I cheerfully walked toward the bus stop, a sleek Range Rover suddenly rolled up in front of me. The driver was none other than Justin, smiling as he waved. "It's too cold. Let me give you a ride home." I had no reason to refuse. I got in the passenger seat, fastened my seatbelt, and was about to think of something to say when Justin broke the silence. "Where do you live?" After I gave him my address, I hesitated, feeling embarrassed about how far out of the way my place was. "You could just drop me off at the nearest bus stop." But Justin just smiled. "It's not far. I'm heading in that direction anyway." I was puzzled at how coincidental it was, but Justin went on to explain that he had passed by my neighborhood during a high school trip and had remembered it well. That explanation made perfect sense. As I nodded, I couldn't help but sneak glances at his handsome profile. His clear-cut features and long lashes were just like I remembered. Suddenly aware that I was staring, I quickly turned away, blushing. "If you don't mind, I'll treat you to a meal sometime." Unexpectedly, Justin asked if I was free that evening. I hesitated for a moment. "Well, if you don't mind, maybe another day." We continued chatting casually about the past 5 years, our work, life, and even past relationships. There was no awkwardness, no bitterness. It all felt like history, no longer stirring any strong emotions. I had once thought that forgetting would take time, but disappointments had long since drained the feelings. Justin's eyes shifted slightly. "So, that was your ex?" My heart sank. So he had seen everything. "By the way," he continued with a slight smile, "you said you wanted to pursue me. How do you plan on doing that?" I froze. Panic flooded me. This was so embarrassing. Should I just jump out of the car to escape? Should I explain that it was all just a misunderstanding? But if he asked if I liked him, I wasn't sure my eyes could lie. It was awkward, to say the least. Justin seemed to sense my unease and gently said, "I'm not hard to win over, you know." I blurted out. "Like how?" He smiled. "As long as I can go home at night." I blinked, speechless. Was gender not an issue? I had wanted to invite Justin to a meal, but with my bank balance so low, I couldn't exactly take him to a fancy restaurant. Back home, I lay in bed for a while, feeling a sweet flutter in my chest. I clutched my chest, whispering to myself, "Tiffany, don't overthink it. He's just a classmate offering a ride. Don't read too much into it." I repeated this to myself 3 times until I calmed down. Then I started cooking. I was actually a pretty good cook, having earned a certificate for it. I made chicken soup, stir-fried spicy pork, and a fried egg. I snapped a photo of the meal to post on social media. Suddenly, I received a friend request from Justin. I accepted and browsed his profile. It wasn't limited to 3 days, he had posted plenty. The most recent post was from the night before, showing the food we had, with the caption, "Met the girl I wanted to see." My heart fluttered again. I quickly shook my head and tried to dismiss the thought. I posted my own dinner photo, captioning it, "My chef's certificate wasn't wasted." After dinner, I cleaned up, cut a pear, watched a few episodes of a show, and did some yoga before bed. Life was feeling fulfilling. Before falling asleep, I checked my phone and saw a message from Justin. "Your cooking is amazing. What do you like for breakfast?" It was sent half an hour ago. I hesitated for a moment before replying. "I like noodles in the morning, but if I'm in a rush, I have a sandwich." He quickly responded, "I just got back from abroad, and I'm not used to the breakfast here. How about I pick you up tomorrow, and you make breakfast for me?" He added a cute cat emoji with a request for a head pat. There was no direct bus, so his offer was perfect. Trying to be modest, I replied, "Sure, but my breakfast is simple. Any dietary restrictions?" Justin replied instantly, "I'm easy to please. I'll eat anything." Smiling at his message, I realized he wasn't as aloof as he seemed. He was easy to get along with, just like in high school. The next morning, I carefully prepared scrambled eggs, bacon, and toast. Justin arrived empty-handed but brought a bouquet of lilies, which looked beautiful on the table. He wasn't lying, he ate heartily, commenting, "Men usually have big appetites." I nodded. "Okay, I'll make more tomorrow." I had underestimated his appetite. Kevin used to eat very little, just a few bites. But Justin finished everything, even the soup, saying it was the best wontons he'd ever had. Knowing I made the wontons fresh that morning, he apologized, saying I could just make noodles next time. Watching him eat was heartwarming. Half a month flew by, and it was payday at the company. I felt guilty for not treating Justin to a meal yet. Excitedly, I knocked on his office door, eager to say, "Justin, I got paid. Let me treat you to a nice meal." Justin smiled and nodded. "Sure, where are we going tonight?" I gestured for him to finish his call, indicating we could talk later. Since it was the end of the workday, most colleagues had left. I felt it was okay to wait. Humming, I started working overtime. The company was selecting a proposal, and I wanted to impress. Half an hour later, Justin came out of his office, apologizing. "Tiffany, I was on the phone with my mom." I quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, I didn't know." Justin waved it off, looking a bit embarrassed. "Do you like crab? My mom wants to invite you to dinner tomorrow." "Huh? What do you mean?" My mind went blank, not understanding. He scratched his head, looking shy. "My mom knows I like you a lot and wants to help." This was too direct. I was stunned, my face turning red. He regained his usual gentle demeanor. I planned to confess later, but I was worried about my mom's lack of experience. "Is this too sudden?" He looked into my eyes sincerely, his gaze reflecting my image like twinkling stars. His honesty was touching. Blushing, I nodded. "It is a bit sudden. We should date first before meeting parents." Justin agreed. "Let's go on a date now." I added, "Usually a confession comes before a date." He understood. "Let's eat first." Sitting in the restaurant, with a violinist playing nearby, dim lighting, and a table full of roses, I still couldn't fully grasp what was happening. Wasn't I supposed to treat him? What was going on? 12. In the restaurant, a beautiful woman played the violin, the lighting was soft, and the table was adorned with roses. Justin's loving gaze made everything feel like a dream. Blushing, Justin confessed. "Tiffany, I've liked you for 8 years. When I first saw you on the basketball court in freshman year, I transferred to your class just to be near you. Back then, I didn't understand what liking someone meant. I just wanted to see you. You were different from other girls, quiet and gentle. You were my high school dream. After graduating, I went abroad, thinking time would make me forget you, but you kept appearing in my dreams. I realized if I didn't try again, I'd regret it forever. I've never been in a relationship, so I might be a bit clueless. But if you tell me what you want, I'll do it. I hope we can date seriously, aiming for marriage. What do you think?" He wasn't pressured or prompted, his clear eyes full of nervous anticipation. His hands trembled slightly. With tears in my eyes, I nodded. "Okay, let's date seriously." Justin's joy was like a child's. I remembered high school, sitting in front of him, sharing snacks. Once, our hands accidentally touched, and his ears turned red. I found him adorable then, not knowing his feelings had already started. On the weekend, Justin brought a lot of things and took me to his house. I expected a wealthy family to be aloof, like Kevin's mother. But Justin's mom was warm, holding my hand and showing me Justin's childhood photos from baby pictures to ones in dresses with makeup. She kept piling food on my plate, making a mountain. "Tiffany, I saw you at a parent-teacher meeting years ago. You were beautiful then, and even more so now." I felt flustered, uncomfortable with the attention. She joked. "Don't worry, I can swim. If we fall into the water, I'll save you first. As for kids, it's up to you. The house and car are in your name. If he mistreats you, I'll kick him out." Tears welled up. Since my parents passed, no one had treated me this well. Compared to my time with Kevin, I felt incredibly lucky to meet such a warm family. Justin gently handed me a tissue, comforting me. Though unspoken, I felt deeply moved. After dinner, we ate fruit and watched TV with Justin's mom. She suggested, "Let's have your parents over for dinner sometime." I quietly explained. "My parents passed away in a car accident 5 years ago." Justin paused, looking shocked. His mom was also taken aback, then hugged me, comforting. "Don't be sad. Consider this your home. We're your family now." Tears flowed freely. No one knew how I survived those days. My parents' accident left me with nothing. I even apologized to the other family involved, but they rejected me. I lived in my mom's old house, avoiding it to escape reality. In college, I liked Kevin because his smile reminded me of my mom. Even as I decided to date Justin, I set 3 rules. First, we wouldn't tell anyone about our relationship yet. I wasn't ready. Second, no living together before marriage. Couples need space. Third, I hadn't thought of yet. He listened seriously, agreeing completely. Other couples can be sweet and close. We can have that too. I've waited so long, a bit more understanding is good. I was lucky to find someone who understood me. Sometimes I wondered if dating in high school would have been better. Recently, I worked overtime and with Justin's help, secured a big project in New Mexico. To celebrate, he suggested a short trip there. Seeing him in different settings, young, confident, and successful, was inspiring. True aristocrats are different from those who waste money. He was truly impressive. After completing the project, my account showed a $3,600 bonus, boosting my spirits. Justin wanted to treat colleagues to dinner as thanks. They didn't hold back, ordering expensive Japanese food. We were the last to arrive, and I was shocked to see Kevin and Zoe there. Seeing him again felt surreal, though it had only been a month since the breakup. Kevin was furious. "So you left me for him?" Calmly, I replied. "We weren't compatible. This has nothing to do with anyone else. My tone was calm, but he couldn't accept it. You're lying. You can't not love me. You're doing this to hurt me, right? He turned to Justin, challenging. Do you know she used to bring me breakfast every day, learned to cook for me, even got a certificate? She did everything for me, even at the cost of her studies. He knew these details but pretended not to. I thought I'd be angry, but I felt nothing, as if he were a stranger. Maybe that meant I no longer loved him. Seeing my change, Justin looked concerned, then relaxed. As he tried to protect me, Zoe whined. Kevin, do you still love Tiffany? No way. Kevin looked disgusted, glancing at Justin's expensive clothes, then at me, sneering. Found a sugar daddy, huh? Dude, she's materialistic. I laughed, not caring about my pride. In 5 years, I spent maybe $4,000 on you, and you spent a lot on me too. In college, I had better suitors. You think I'm materialistic? You've drunk too much to think straight. Kevin was speechless. Justin smiled warmly. Thanks, buddy. If you hadn't let her go, I wouldn't have found such a great girlfriend. His love was obvious, making my heart flutter. I loved his open affection, feeling secure. As we entered the private room, the smell of grilled meat filled the air. Justin was a multitasker, rolling up his sleeves to cook, adding extra spice for me. As I sweated from the spicy food, the door opened and a waiter brought in several cups of milk tea. At that moment, I realized milk tea could taste so good. Sipping it, I asked quietly, Aren't you afraid I'm lying? What if I deceive you? Justin handed me a piece of grilled meat, confidently saying, Even if you do, I'll give you enough love and money. If you don't love me now, you will eventually. His words were domineering but touched my heart. Though I wasn't deeply in love yet, he helped me find myself and taught me true love. Year-end was a busy time for work. Knowing my dedication, Justin stayed late with me. In this job, effort equals reward. I planned to buy a car next year, but now I had enough for a down payment. Thinking about it made me happy. During lunch, I was looking at car photos when Kevin texted. I glanced at his emotional plea and ignored it. He used to share his reconciliation messages with his friends to mock me. I wouldn't do that, not out of kindness, but because it was pointless. When a name becomes irrelevant, the relationship has lost its weight. Justin approached with a coffee. Thinking of buying a car? Excitedly, I shared. I like this Beetle. The down payment isn't much. What do you think? He didn't mind the price, happily discussing its features and value. Jokingly, he said, When you get it, treat me to barbecue. I agreed. Sure, all you can eat. After the company year-end party, we celebrated with a big dinner. The atmosphere was lively. But my good mood was ruined when I saw Kevin and his friends, along with some colleagues, at the restaurant restroom. I wanted to pretend not to know them, but a drunk Kevin grabbed my arm, pleading. Tiffany, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I can't live without you. His face was flushed, his eyes full of longing. I pulled my hand away, shouting to the others. Why are you standing there? Call Zoe. His friends looked confused, one asking, Aren't you being too harsh? Since they wouldn't help, I didn't need to either. I turned to leave. Kevin, losing control, tried to hug me. But Justin swiftly punched him in the jaw, knocking him down, blood trickling from his mouth. He seemed seriously hurt. As I reached for tissues to check on him, Justin walked over, full of concern. Worried, I wiped his hands. Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself? Kevin's friends were stunned. Justin laughed. Our colleagues enjoyed the drama. Just as everyone thought it was over, Zoe appeared, trying to slap me. Tiffany, you jerk. Why won't you leave Kevin alone? Justin stepped in, grabbing her wrist. For the first time, I heard him speak so coldly. Be respectful to my woman. Zoe, usually arrogant, fell silent, rubbing her wrist, not daring to provoke him, and helped Kevin up. Kevin pushed her away, crying my name. Get lost. You're the reason Tiffany is unhappy. Don't come near me again, Tiffany, I'm sorry. Seeing the tall, wealthy Kevin cry like a child was rare. I snapped a photo for my friend. Look at him cry. I can't believe I liked him. Vanessa sent a thumbs up emoji, saying, well done. Let him go. After replying, I left with Justin, feeling calm. 5 years of love had ended, leaving him a passerby in my life. What do you think of the rumors at work? I asked nonchalantly. Rumors? They're true. Justin looked puzzled. He continued. We're meant to be. He wasn't wrong. It was true. We had agreed not to reveal our relationship, but yesterday's situation left no choice. Besides, I had my own place, soon a car, savings, and a stable job. I was worthy of him. Being in a blessed relationship was truly joyful. Justin's parents treated me well, taking me shopping and dining on weekends, proudly introducing me as their daughter-in-law. Colleagues envied our relationship but never gossiped, thanks to Justin's small perks. The only surprise missing was for me. Vanessa was thrilled about our relationship, more excited than I was. She said I deserved this happiness after my hardships. That weekend, I was cleaning the house and accidentally got my household registration book wet. I put it by the window to dry. When Justin returned with groceries and saw it, he placed his own book next to it in the sun. I smiled, saying, "The sun is nice today." He nodded. Shall we go to the registry office? The registry office wasn't far. We walked hand in hand, passing the school, bakery, flower shop, and supermarket, finally reaching our destination with a shared smile. Sitting on a park bench, we took photos with our marriage certificate, capturing the moment. I updated my social media. Today's sun is warm, the breeze gentle, the bakery smells delightful, and the sunflowers are vibrant, but the most heartwarming is you. Justin's post was more direct. Finally married my longtime crush. Hand in hand we walked home, only to find Kevin at the door, eyes red. His expression was fragile. Tiffany, can we go back to the way we were? I've cut ties with Zoe. I promise she won't be in our lives. Seeing him, Justin asked, should I wait nearby? He always respected me in such situations. But I shook my head, holding his wrist. Honey, are you really leaving me? Justin straightened, his smile brighter. I'll start the rib soup for you. After he left, Kevin knelt begging, give me another chance. I promise I'll be better than him in every way. Honestly, I never expected Kevin to go to such lengths to beg for reconciliation. Despite his tearful plea, which was the first time he had ever apologized to me while sober, I took a deep breath and bent down to speak softly. It's over, Kevin. 3 months ago, you betrayed our relationship in front of everyone. It ended when you didn't stand up to your friends mocking me, when you let 2 women fight over your attention, when you watched your mother mistreat me without intervening, and when you barely touched the meals I painstakingly prepared for you. Even on the day I mourned my parents, you couldn't find the time to accompany me. All those moments added up, and they marked the end of our relationship. 5 years of being together brought me nothing but pain. Breaking up was a rebirth for me. No amount of words can make up for the hurt and trauma. Some things, once lost, can never be regained. After saying this, Kevin stumbled away. Later that night, I received a call from one of his friends, saying Kevin was in the hospital and asking if I could visit. I didn't respond and immediately blocked their numbers. 16. On the eve of our wedding, during my bachelorette party, Vanessa told me that I was indeed a decisive person. When I loved Kevin, I gave my all, but once I decided to break up, I never looked back. Yes, maybe I was that heartless. During the ring exchange ceremony, Kevin suddenly appeared and handed me a large sum of money as a wedding gift. Though I could sense his mixed emotions, he and his friends sincerely apologized. I simply smiled and didn't comment much. Later, I learned that Kevin had a long talk with Justin, asking him to take good care of me because he had wronged me too many times. Justin didn't offer much comfort, just a gentle pat on Kevin's back. The reason was simple: he wasn't me and couldn't make decisions for me, including whether to forgive someone. Today, under a clear blue sky, I married the boy I had admired since high school. As he knelt and confessed, "No matter the past, present, or future, I love you deeply," I replied, "My feelings are just as intense, like summer flowers in full bloom, unwavering from the beginning to the end."